My name is Nancy Giroux. My dad, Paul Conrad, and my stepmom, Cheryl Andreasen, were both killed by an impaired driver. Our advocate, Kelly, was right by our side. She was there for every court date and was updating family members about the process. We were in court for about 2 years. When the driver that killed my parents bonded out, ended up overdosing within a week and dying. Our court case was done, but Kelly and AAIM were not. They were there through it all, and they continue to be there and reaching out and making sure we are okay. I don't know what we would have done without AAIM. They truly helped us through this process. We cannot thank AAIM enough for everything they have done for our family.
I am thankful to AAIM and their continued support. 8 years ago, my husband was killed in a car crash. He was rear-ended by a drunk driver. At the time, our sons were 2 months old, 2 years old, and 4 years old. And our 4-year-old having a diagnosis of autism. It was a very difficult time for us, and AAIM was so supportive and there by my side personally, and I'm so thankful for everything they do continually for hundreds of families who have suffered losses due to drunk driving and distracted driving. This happened 8 years ago, and this year would have been 19 years of marriage for us. This year our sons are 8, 10, and 12. And AIM still continues to keep in touch and support us, even to this day. So I'm so thankful for them, all that they do, and their continued support to hundreds of families. Thank you, AIM.
Looking out the window that night on our way home from dinner was my last memory until April 7th that same year, after a driver decided to drive intoxicated after drinking at a bar. Kelly was assigned as our AIM victims advocate. Words really can't express what Kelly did, not only for my family, but for my recovery, as it allowed me to focus on regaining my strength and learning to walk after the accident while supporting my family. AIM guided us toward a light at the end of the tunnel during the darkest times, and I'm so grateful.
My name is Aida White. Our only son, Willie James White, was taken from us by a distracted driver. Willie was never here to celebrate his daughter's graduation from high school. He wasn't here for her first day of college. He wasn't here for the first day that she was able to be walked down the aisle by her father. He wasn't here for his granddaughter's birth. He wasn't here for the first day of her life, for her first birthday, for her first steps, to hear her say, Dad, Dad, or Mama, or Granddad. He wasn't here to see his first nephew graduate from the Air Force Academy. All his firsts were taken away. We lost our son, a father, a brother, an uncle. Please support AIM so that your loved one's first doesn't turn into their last. That's all I'm asking. Help AIM so that they can help us. Thank you.
On Saturday, February 2nd, 2019, I left my friend's house at about 10:50 p.m., and while traveling down Route 30, a drunk driver struck me. I suffered a traumatic brain injury, 3 cracked ribs, I have a left orbital fracture, and sinus injuries. I lost all of my peripheral vision in both my eyes. My family has been attending court since the crash happened. That is how we met Cindy Huerta, and she has been a huge supporter during my recovery. She sits with my family and is available on my phone or email anytime we had questions, concerns. AIM has helped me financially by helping me with my medical bills, and they also provided me with an Uber gift card to help me get from home to physical therapy since I am unable to drive. I do want to thank all of the people that have helped me recover. I do want to thank AIM and my family for being there for me. Thank you all for listening.
Good evening. I'm Carl Heinz. I'm the commander of Illinois State Police District 16. Having served as a trooper for 25 years, I'm all too familiar with the violence and devastation impaired drivers can cause on our highways. AIM may mean something quite different to me than it does to you. I've continually sought ways to equip, empower, and enable our troopers to be the absolute best they can be. Keeping the front line productive and in good spirits can be a challenge at times. Events which may seem newsworthy or interesting to the public become routine disheartening, and downright depressing for our first responders. I met Art and Kelly Krenzer at a press event in Cherry Valley. It was 1 year after their son, Chris, was killed by a drunken speeding repeat offender. I decided to reach out to them to turn their pain into our passion. They graciously came to our headquarters and spoke to our troopers about Chris, about the man who killed him, about the tremendous loss they endure every day, and about their appreciation for law enforcement. It was gripping and it was highly effective. The Krenzers have been inspiring state troopers to be the best they can be and to fervently enforce impaired driving laws for more than 10 years now. Together, we rise. I'm so grateful for them. I'm so grateful for AAIM. I'd love to see our culture turn where drunk and drug driving is a thing of the past. Until then, you have our attention, you have our compassion, and you have our commitment to remove all dangerous drivers from our highways. Please continue to support AAIM. They do a very difficult job under the absolute worst of circumstances. May God bless and keep you safe from all harm. Thank you.
On January 13th, 1982, Robert Kalin, a sophomore at Arizona State University, was killed. Robert had been driving to the Phoenix airport and was hit head-on by a drunk driver, and Robert was killed instantly. Robert was my youngest brother. He was 19 at the time. Because when that middle of the night call comes, or when someone is suddenly a victim, rarely does anyone know how to operate within the system of the courts. With your help, AIM can continue to be an effective organization in Illinois. Thank you.
My name is Peyton Richmond. On January 12th of 2018, I was in a car accident. AIM was there for me the second they found out that I was hit by an impaired driver. Kelly Krenzer is my advocate and she is amazing. But I am forever grateful for AIM, and it is one of the best organizations ever. And I am forever grateful that Kelly Krenzer came into my life and helped me with everything.
Hello, I am Lisa Lilly. In 2007, my parents Frank and Helen Lilly were killed by a drunk driver as they were crossing the street to go into church. I'm so grateful to AIM for all the emotional support it provided through a court advocate and the grief support group. And I'm grateful for this moment to remember my parents, Frank and Helen Lilly.
Hello, my name is Nsikan, the daughter of Emmanuel Afiala was killed by a drunken driver. It was unexpected, it was sudden. You have been a blessing. Your organization has been so helpful to us this period. I would like to say thank you, and thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alan Kraszewski, news anchor with ABC 7 News Chicago. I just want to offer my congratulations to AIM and to all of you as you celebrate 40 years of serving the victims of impaired drivers and the families of those victims whose lives are forever changed as well. You have provided a crucial support service to those families, walked alongside them through that difficult journey which they never chose, providing wise counsel and offering a needed shoulder to simply cry on. But beyond that, you provided a pathway for those families through the workings of the legal system. You provided wise counsel. You've been a valuable resource for legal help and financial possibilities. But for all of us, you have made us more aware of the dangers of impaired or distracted driving. You've made us think again about the deadly consequences of poor decisions and how we can very simply avoid them. You have saved lives and helped to create a safer traffic environment for all of us. It has been my honor to be with you through many of these years, and I'd like to add my thanks as well to all the government leaders, the judges, the state's attorneys, the law enforcement members who have joined in this effort over the past 4 decades. And finally, as I am wrapping up my own career here at ABC 7 next month after 40 years, it occurs to me that we've been through a lot of this together through a good portion of that time. Don't stop now. Keep it up. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Samantha Gannon, and I'm honored to be your MC for tonight's important occasion. We're thrilled to invite you to participate. By teaming up and forming teams or new groups, we can amplify our reach and make a greater impact together. Remember, the team that raises the most funds will win an incredible 2-night stay at the Abbey Resort in Fontana, Wisconsin. Where are you watching from? We want to know. Share your location in the chat and let's connect with each other. Get social with us. Join the conversation by using the hashtags AIM to Save Lives and hashtag AIM to Make a Difference on your social media posts. We'd love to see where you're watching from. Engage with us. Don't hesitate to use the chat tonight. It's on the live stream sidebar to connect with us throughout the evening. We want to hear your thoughts, your experiences, and any questions that you may have as the night unfolds. Let's make this a memorable event together. For the last 9 years, I have been honored to be a part of the AIM family. Throughout my journey here, I have witnessed the compassion, determination, grit, and dedication of all of the AIM family shares. And by AIM family, I don't just mean our staff. From the volunteers, the family we serve, the community partners, law enforcement, court personnel, and beyond, each and every person committed to the fight against impaired driving crashes and to keeping our roads safe are a part of the AIM family. For the last 5.5 years, I have worked directly in our communities at high schools throughout Illinois, spreading the message of safe driving and teaching novice drivers the importance of safe driving habits and behaviors to be safe and responsible behind the wheel. AIM is a dedicated nonprofit organization focused on preventing impaired, reckless, and distracted driving crashes and supporting the victims and their families in Illinois. AIM emphasizes the importance of court monitoring to ensure judges maintain a high professional standards and fairly apply the law, ultimately protecting citizens' rights and enhancing public confidence in the courts. AIM also advocates stricter DUI laws and enforcement. AIM's unwavering commitment to these goals is evident in their tireless efforts to raise awareness through various initiatives, such as community outreach, educational programs, and legislative initiatives. Their work serves as a vital force in the fight against impaired, reckless, and distracted driving crashes, fostering safer roads for everyone. Today, we're here to raise awareness and support for our victim advocacy program, which plays a crucial part in our mission and helping those affected by these crashes. Now, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Rita Kreslin, AIM's Executive Director.
Thank you, Samantha. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the program tonight. I am so excited that you could join us. My name is Rita Kreslin, and I am the Executive Director for AIM. I became involved in AIM just shortly after I lost my 19-year-old son, John, in 2002 in an impaired driving crash. I quickly became a volunteer, working to raise funds, going into the schools, bringing awareness to students about the importance of underage drinking and driving. In over 20 years, I have spoken to thousands of students and hundreds of parents, bringing that awareness to them and working to make sure that they understand the importance of keeping the lines of communication open so that they can better understand their students and the struggles that they face. In 2010, I became the executive director. When I came on board, I had 3 victim advocates, 1 full-time, 2 part-time. I had 3 court monitors, 1 full-time and 2 part-time. Throughout the years, those programs have grown immensely, far beyond anything I ever thought. Right now, we have 6 full-time victim advocates and 1 director of that program. And they are in all of the courthouses that you see on the screen that you're looking at. We also have 10 court monitors and 1 director of that program working in the courthouses that you see on your screen. The victim advocacy program is so important to this agency. They are the backbone of this agency and are the important part of our mission. Our advocates go to court regularly with our families, walking them through the court process, making sure they understand their rights, and making sure they understand court proceedings. This is not just a job, not for me, not for the advocates. This is their vital work of giving back to the community. Each and every one of them have taken pain, not just their own, but the pain of the families that they work with, and they have turned it into purpose. Our goal this evening is to raise $500,000. Now, I know that this is a high reach, and I also understand that there are many social service agencies out there that have lost funding, that have had funding cuts that have actually affected the entire country. But I really do think that together we can make a difference and we can raise the funds to sustain this program while we work for different sources to be able to raise more money to keep the victim advocacy program. So that being said, I'm going to come back in just a little while, and I am going to lead our Fund in Need, which is really what is going to be the level of giving for our Fund of Need program, which is our victim advocacy program. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Janulius. Since 1982, AIM has supported crash victims and their families and worked tirelessly to combat impaired driving. As Secretary of State, I've been extremely proud to stand alongside AIM and to advocate for those who have been forced to live with the tragic consequences of impaired drivers. Together, we've rallied to raise awareness of the dangers of impaired and distracted driving and have fought to strengthen penalties and push reforms designed to make our roads safer. I lean on Rita and the staff at AIM for counsel and advice. In the coming weeks, we're looking forward to partnering with them as we launch distracted driving campaigns designed for teen drivers. Sadly, due to recent funding cuts, AIM, an incredible organization, has been forced to pause its victim advocacy program and to furlough several victim advocates. After more than 4 decades, AIM now faces a critical situation that directly impacts its ability to continue providing essential services to countless victims and families who face the unimaginable pain of losing their loved ones so suddenly. AIM has been there for so many people, and now it's time for us to step up for AIM. So, what can you do to help? For starters, help us spread the word about AIM's work and their mission in your communities. The more people who understand the vital role that AIM plays in preventing impaired driving and supporting survivors, the better. Second, if you can, please donate during tonight's fundraiser. Please. We understand the current climate, but we need your continued support during these very challenging times. Every dollar donated will help maintain vital programming and continue to serve those in need. The proceeds go directly to the Victim Advocacy Program to bring staff back so that they continue to serve more than the 700 victims who participate in this vital program. Your support of AIM is invaluable and needed. I am so grateful to have such a dedicated partner in Rita and AIM. So let's ensure that they are here for those who need them today and for those who will need them tomorrow. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, AIM, for all that you do. And thank you to everyone for helping this incredible organization.
Now I have the privilege of introducing someone who truly embodies the spirit of victim advocacy, AIM advocate Carrie Kilpatrick. Welcome, Carrie.
Thank you, Sam. Hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Kilpatrick. My son, Nick, had just turned 17. 8 days later, he was killed by an impaired driver. My son was not sick. He was not in an accident. He died because the man made a choice to get behind the wheel after a night of drinking. Nick's death was 100% preventable. Nick was the type of kid that was funny, He had that class clown kind of personality, the kind that just commanded a room. He was loving and definitely stubborn. And we can't forget charming. He had these beautiful green eyes and a crooked smile. Fishing and skateboarding were Nick's two greatest passions. He would ride all day and just loved to fish. Fishing with his dad started when Nick was just a toddler and then grew into a family activity with his siblings, something they loved to do together. And on the evening of September 9th, 2014, I received that call that would forever change my life. Sean, my ex-husband, called and said I needed to get to the hospital. Nick was hurt. We didn't have any other information, but I needed to get there fast. I woke my other children, Kira and Christian, up, bundled them into the car, and started the 45-minute drive. When I was halfway there, Sean called me back, and he said, "It's Nick. It's Nick. He's dead." I dropped the phone, letting out a scream that wasn't even human. I remember the pouring rain, my children sobbing in the back seat, begging to know what had happened, and wishing a cop would pull me over to get me there safely. It's all I remember of the drive. When I finally arrived at the hospital, I learned that Nick had actually been killed hours earlier. He didn't have his wallet on him, so it took them a while to to ID him. They had already transported him to the morgue because of the storm that night. So I couldn't even see my baby until the next day. Sean had to identify Nick through photos. Nick had been longboarding from a friend's back to his dad's house when two guys that had gone out to a bar left and got behind the wheel of their trucks. Decided it would be a good idea to race home down a residential street where the speed limit is 30 miles an hour. And the guy in the back that's losing couldn't have that. Went around into the median where my son was at 60 miles an hour. Hit him so hard, his shoes came flying off of his feet. His socks came flying off of his feet. Nick's body flew over 50 feet, taking out a cemented in mailbox post 4x4, ripped it straight from the ground. And the one thing that will always plague me is, did Nick see that truck coming, knowing it was about to hit him, knowing he couldn't get out of the way? And I pray he didn't. I pray he died loving what he loved most, and without a care in this world. The next morning, I had insisted on going to the coroner myself to see my son. And it was then and there that I saw Nick laying lifeless on a gurney. They had cleaned him up by that time, and he just looked like he was sleeping. I felt for his heartbeat. Gone. I listened to his chest for breathing. Nothing. And I just begged and I pleaded for him to wake up. The coroner told me Nick was killed upon impact. His neck was broken. His spine was broken. His skull was fractured. His whole right side of his body was broken, plus a multitude of internal injuries. On top of having to bury my child, we now had to go to court, something that was so foreign to me. But I would attend every date because I had to be my son's face and voice. And at that first court date, an AIM advocate showed up. I had no idea who AIM was at the time, but that would quickly change because my advocate never left my side. She walked me through the court process, explaining in layman terms what everything meant, attended each and every court date and meeting with the ASAs. And most importantly, she was there to talk to me when the grief was so heavy. She always answered the phone. And she had this uncanny sense of knowing when I needed to talk and calling it when I needed it the most. She had also lost her son to a drunk driver, so she truly understood what I was going through. And having someone to talk to that walks in the same shoes truly made a difference for me in my life. At one point, I was so lost in my grief, I had forgotten to pay an entire month of bills. As a single mom, I was already living paycheck to paycheck. But I'm a proud woman, and asking for help is hard. My advocate knew what had happened, and AIM stepped in and helped me get back on my feet. And I will be forever grateful to them. I first got involved with AIM as a volunteer when I felt like I was drowning in my grief and needed to do something positive with it. My advocate had suggested that I volunteer and share my story at victim impact panels. And I'm terrified of public speaking, but I decided this would be a good idea anyway. But if I can make a difference in somebody else's life through sharing my tragedy, then my son's death was not in vain. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. So, first, thank you for sharing your deeply personal and heart wrenching story with us. It's clear that your love for Nick and this tragedy has inspired you to make a difference in other people's lives that are involved in similar circumstances. Could you tell us a little bit more about how your personal tragedy motivated you to become a victim advocate?
Sure. If I had not had an AIM advocate to help me through my pain and my grief and holding my hand and explaining that court process, I would have been lost. She honestly changed my life, so much so that I left my career and became an advocate myself, which was terrifying. I wanted to be what she was for me, for others. I wanted to be that shoulder to lean on, that ear to listen, and be that strength that other people needed. I feel like this is my purpose now, and it's what I'm meant to do with the life that's been given to me. Advocacy to victims of this particular crime is in jeopardy, and now we need help. Without it, victims will go unsupported. I'm sorry. Please, please help us in any way that you can. I know firsthand how important this is, and the physical and emotional support is so needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Now, let's dive deep into the reason that we are here today. Rita?
Thank you, Carrie, for sharing your story with us. It really is touching. One of the biggest reasons I'm going to share a couple statistics with you about why this program is so important. In 2022, there were over 298,000 crashes on the streets of Illinois. Over 83,000 people were injured, and 1,268 people lost their lives. I think that this is very telling for the need of our program. I think that this agency and our victim advocacy program is so important. Our advocate team goes to court with families on a regular basis, walking them, like you just heard from Carrie, through the court process, making sure that they understand their rights, make sure they understand the court proceedings. They are there not just to give them the guidance that they need for the court system, but they are a part of their search for making sure that the needs that they have are met, and helping with victim impact statements and anything else that they can be cued into, whether it's financial issues that they might be having or counseling issues that they may need some support with as well. The victim advocacy program is the backbone of this agency, and it is so important that each and every one of you help us keep that program going. So it is at this part of the program that I am going to lead our Fund a Need, and our Fund a Need is our victim advocacy program. So our first level of giving is $5,000. If you can find it in your heart and you can afford to donate $5,000, we would be so grateful. Your donation to help this program will help us while we work to explore other secure funding to maintain this program. So if you could now donate $5,000, I believe the button is down on the left on this part of your screen. And thank you. I also want to mention that before we even started tonight, some of the donations that were coming in have been incredible. We have already raised well over $30,000. Our next level of giving is $2,500. Of course, any donation, like I said, is appreciated. Your $2,500 will help our victim advocates provide vital support, not just for impaired driving, but reckless driving and distracted driving crash victims. They walk these families through the darkest times of their lives, helping them with their victim impact statements, and help. They don't only do the court advocacy part, but they are there to walk them through some of the most challenging times and darkest times, even after court. So if you could possibly afford and possibly support with $2,500 for a donation, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Our next level of giving is $1,000. AIM victim advocates provide grief support as well. We currently have a Facebook grief group page, and we also have a live virtual event for grief group with over 50 participants engaging regularly. We also host the advocates host for the victims annual picnics and pizza parties to bring our families together at a time of joy that they can experience something in camaraderie that's not just in the court system, and share fellowship. So if you could support with your pledge of $1,000, that is our next level of giving. And again, the donate button is down on the bottom of your screen here. We would greatly appreciate any help that you can give. Our next level of giving is $500. People don't often realize the devastation caused by the violence of a crash. Often impaired and reckless drivers don't have insurance or they're underinsured. And the families are left not only to pick up the pieces emotionally, but financially. And what our victim advocates do is they work to make sure that the families have what they need. Many of them can't work after a crash. Many of them are injured and can't work after a crash, and bills go unpaid. So your $500 will help that part of this program for our families to be able to get the support that they need. Our next level of giving is $250. People often think of crashes as two vehicles hitting one another or a vehicle hitting an obstacle. Today, pedestrian safety is just so important, and the amount of people that are being injured or killed as a pedestrian, even as you heard for Carrie's son, who was killed on his skateboard. Pedestrian safety is the responsibility for every single one of us in traffic safety and the roads that we are all traveling on, our loved ones, our children. So if you could give at this level, these are also the type of crash victims that we work with. $250 would be so appreciated. Again, the donate button is down here on your screen. And again, being involved in a crash does not always involve a vehicle, but involves sometimes it doesn't mean that a vehicle is always going to be the cause of the crash. The little boy that you see on this screen was killed in a boating crash at the age of 10 by an impaired boater. Tony Borgia was just 10 years old. His mother, Margaret Borgia, because of this crash, has found her passion and strength in giving back to others in the court in memory of her son, and she has become one of our victim advocates as well. Drinking and boating is all too common occurrence. In 2023, there were 12 fatalities and 37 injuries on the waters of Illinois. Impairment on the water is just as dangerous as it is on the road. And unfortunately, boating and drinking has become such an acceptable part of that entertainment And what do you think happens when those people that are boating that don't live on the water, they're getting in their cars and they are driving home? So if you could find it to be able to donate to this level of giving, that would be greatly appreciated. Our next level of giving is $50. The pictures that you see on the screen right now are families that we actually work with or have worked with. These are individuals that live with a day-to-day constant reminder of the challenges they face because someone made the choice to drive impaired. These families, these individuals have the courage to join us in the community. They come out and they share their stories with people about what happened and what one poor decision did to their lives. They actually speak to many DUI offenders who have been court ordered to attend our victim impact panels and hope to make a difference in the lives of someone else so that they don't do that to somebody else or end up in a crash that brings them back into the system. So again, this level of giving is $50. Our families work with our victim advocates to prepare them for their speeches and to help them through the trauma of what they're living with from day to day. Our last and final level of giving is $25. If you can possibly give to our last level of giving, $25, it would be gratefully appreciated. And like I said earlier, any level of giving is important. I'm going to read a little something that's on the screen for you right now. Grief is the courage to keep stepping through a life that feels like it's ended. This is true for so many people that have walked in our shoes. Most people don't realize what it's like to be involved in a crash, especially a fatal crash or something that has caused great bodily harm or injury. Unless this has happened to you, a lot of times people don't realize what families go through. But crashes have increased in Illinois throughout the years. Reckless speeding, road rage, people on the road that don't have the patience, and we've all seen it ever since the pandemic. So it is so important that each and every one of us pay attention to the roads and, like I said, the families that we love and our friends that travel upon them. So in closing, I'm going to turn it back over to Samantha. And again, I see the screen with the money coming in and the donations. And from the bottom of my heart, I so appreciate each and every one of you and taking the time to be with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. So remember that your contributions will directly impact families affected by crashes, helping them in their time of need. We are committed to making a difference, and together we can sustain this program. On behalf of AIM Board President Chuck Nozica and its members, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you, Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias, for your encouraging words today. And a special thank you goes out to all of our law enforcement officers, first responders, and Illinois traffic safety leadership. And most importantly, to each and every one of you. Your support and dedication means the world to us. And together, we can continue to make a difference in the lives of those affected by these tragedies, ensuring that no one has to face these tragedies alone. The giving page will remain open until March 7th at midnight. So there's still time to contribute and form a team. We will announce the winning team that raises the most funds after March 8th. And they will receive a fantastic 2-night stay at the Abbey Resort in Fontana, Wisconsin. Thank you again for your generosity and commitment to this important cause. Let's make a difference together. Good night. And thank you to the AV department for partnering with us on this virtual event.